Hello children, in our lesson today you are going to be learning all about division by sharing, and you're going to need some objects that you can use to practice sharing with. Anything small from around the house your grown-up says you can use. I've got here some pasta and I've also got some cereal, so anything like that. You could use buttons, you could use coins, you could break up pieces of spaghetti, anything that is small and you can use to help you share. So go and collect those now children before we start our lesson. For our revision element of our lesson today, children, I've put a times tables race game in our PDF file. You can play that, or you can just practice saying your 5 times tables in and out of order. I know you're doing really well with this, so keep on practicing. So let's begin by exploring what we mean by sharing. So I want you to have a look at this. Imagine these are cakes, the pictures of cakes in the PDF file. And I want to share these cakes equally between the 2 plates. I've just drawn 2 circles. You can do the same, or you can just have 2 piles. So what am I going to do? Talk to your grown-up and pause the video for a moment. Right, I know what I'm going to do. I am going to count my cakes and I'm going to share them using the 1 for you, 1 for me method. I know that you all practice that when we're sharing things in class. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cakes. So let's share them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've used up all my cakes. I've shared them equally because I've got the same number in each group. So 8 cakes shared equally between 2 is 4. So let me write that down. 8 cakes, don't really need to have the cakes in there, shared equally between 2 plates is 4. So 8 cakes shared equally between 2 plates is 4. I could actually get rid of the words cake and plates and it would still make mathematical sense. 8 shared equally between 2 is 4. So now children, I want you to have a little go at sharing equally. I want you to collect 30 small objects. I've got 30 pieces of pasta and I want you to work out 30 shared between 5, 30 shared between 2 and 30 shared between 10. And I want you to see how much each person would guess if you shared 30 pieces of pasta between 5 people, between 2 people and between 10 people. So hopefully children that you worked out that 30 shared between 5 is 6. You get 6 each if you share 30 pieces of pasta between 5 people. You get 15 pieces each if you share 30 pieces of pasta between 2 people, and you get 3 pieces each if you share 30 pieces of pasta between 10 people. Do you notice anything about those numbers? Think about how many you're sharing it between and how many you get each. Talk to your grown-up about what you notice. So now we're going to take our sharing a little bit further and look at how we might write down, using some stem sentences, what we're doing. So we're going to explore how we would share 12, it says cubes in the PDF file, but I've got 12 pieces of cereal into 2 boxes. So let's have a little look. I have got 12 altogether and I've got 2 boxes. So I'm going to write that down first of all. So there are 12 altogether and there are 2 boxes. Now, rather than boxes, I've got cake cases just because I haven't got any boxes. So here we are. Here are my 2 cake cases and I'm going to share them equally. And remember how we do that? We do that by doing the 1 for you, 1 for me method. So 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me, and keep on going until I've used them all up. And then I'm going to count how many I've got in each box. So hopefully you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 in each box. And it's really important that we use these stem sentences. So I'm now going to ask you to complete the independent activity, and for each number of objects that I've asked you to share, I want you to write down your answers using these STEM sentences. There are how many altogether, how many boxes, and how many in each box. So now we're going to take things a step further again. We're going to look at this question. If 28 children are put in 4 equal teams, how many children are in each team? Let's see if I can work that out. So what I'm asking is, if a certain number of children are shared into a certain number of groups, how many are in each group? So let's look at our important numbers. I've got a 28, so I've got 28 children altogether, and they're put into 4 equal teams. So I've got 28 being shared into 4 teams, so teams, groups. Okay, so how am I going to do that? Let me draw 4 circles. And here are my 28 pieces of pasta, and I'm going to share them equally. Hopefully I'm not going to lose some on the way. So let's see what I'm going to do. So 1, keep going until I've used them all up. And the last few. So now I've used them all up and they've all got the same number in each group. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And yes, there's 7 in each group. So 28 is shared into 4 groups of 7. So I can put a 7 there. There are 2 questions I'd like you to have a go at independently. Looking at some pictures and then sharing them into different groups, and tell me how many are in each group. So let's look at this example. I have got 8 bananas shared between 4 monkeys. How many bananas do they have each? So 8, so I know I've got 8, and they're going to be shared into 4 groups because I've got 4 monkeys. I wonder how many they're going to get each. Let's do the sharing by giving them 1 each until I run out and I've used them all up. Okay, I've got equal groups. So 8 is shared into 4 groups and they've got 2 each. Now the trouble is, children, writing 8 is shared into 4 groups of 2 is really long, and we can use a mathematical symbol to help us. And the symbol is this, it's called the division symbol. Can you see it there? And I can say 8 divided by 4 equals 2. That's exactly the same as saying 8 shared into 4 groups of 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now children, can you see my bar model here? I've got a bar model here that shows I have divided 16 into 2 equal groups. What number sentence could I write for that? I'd like you to pause the video and I'd like you to talk to your grown-up. I wonder if you got the same answer as me. I bet you did. What I've done is I had 16 pieces of pasta and I split them, I divided them into 2 groups. So I did this, so I had 16 pieces of pasta, and here are my 16 pieces of pasta. Those are my whole, and I divided them one at a time like this. I'm just doing it slightly quicker here. And I ended up with 8 in each group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can say that 16 shared into 2 groups has 8 in each group, or I can write it like this. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Now you'll remember that in our work on multiplication, this would have also shown a multiplication that 2 lots of 8 equals 16. And we'll be looking at that again a little bit later on this week. So now, children, before we move on to our last independent activity, I'm going to ask you to think about this problem. Mrs. Riley's got 20 cookies and she shares them between 5 friends. And Neve has 20 cookies, but she shares them between 10 friends. I wonder whose friends are going to get the most. Now, I want you to think back to what I said right back at the start about how many you might have if you're sharing between a bigger or a smaller group. Talk to your grown-up. Right, children, I think you've probably remembered that I said right back at the beginning of our lesson that the more people you share with or the more groups you share into, then the less each person has, the less is in each group. So let's see what's going to happen here. I think that Mrs. Riley's friends are going to get more because she's sharing with less people than Neve, but we're going to check. So we've talked about how we could record this, and I could record this as a division. So 20 divided by 5 equals. So let's split my 20 into 5. Share it with 5 people. And I'm not drawing circles just because it's a little bit quicker. And I'm still using the one for you method until I've used them all up. Can you see that 20 shared into 5, into 5 groups, everybody gets 4 each. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. I wonder if you can predict what 20 shared with 10 friends, how many will they get? 20 divided by 10. Talk to your grown-up. So let's see what happens if I divide 20 by 10. I'm going to have 10 groups now, so let's do. There's 5, and here's another 5. There's my 10 groups. Let's put them together. Same method of 1 in each group until I've used them all up, and we've all got the same number in each group. Can you see, children, that 20 divided by 10 is going to give me 2 each? And did you notice that 10 is double 5, so 2 is half of 4. So if I'm sharing 20 by 5, they're going to get 4 each. If I double the number of people, they're going to get half the amount each. Well done if you spotted that. Now I'd like you to complete the independent activity in the PDF file. There's a challenge question if you want to have a go. And then there's a reflection activity, and it's a little bit tricky in that I'm giving you some numbers and I want you to see which numbers you can share equally into 2 piles and how many we have left over, if any, in any of them. So have a little think about that one and see what you notice about the numbers. Can't wait to see what you do, so don't forget to send lots of photos of your work. See you soon, Year 2. Bye.